Kinesthetic learning is a learning style in which learning takes place by the student carrying out a physical activity, rather than listening to a lecture or watching a demonstration. People with a preference for kinesthetic learning are also commonly known as doers. Tactile kinesthetic learners make up about 5% of the population. The Fleming VAK model categorized learning styles as follows: visual learners, auditory learners, reading or writing preference learners, kinesthetic learners. History: kinesthetic intelligence was originally coupled with tactile abilities, and was defined and discussed in Howard Gardner's Frames of Mind, the Theory of Multiple Intelligences. In his book, Gardner describes activities as requiring great kinesthetic intelligence, using the body to create something. Margaret Tubler wrote and spoke about kinesthetic learning during the 1940s, defining kinesthetic learning as the human body's ability to express itself through movement and dance. Characteristics: according to the theory of learning styles, students who have a predominantly kinesthetic style are thought to be discovery learners. They have realization through doing, rather than thinking before initiating action. They may struggle to learn by reading or listening. When learning, it helps for these students to move around. This increases the student's understanding, with learners generally getting better marks in exams when they can do so. Kinesthetic learners usually succeed in activities such as chemistry experiments, sporting activities, art and acting. They also may listen to music while learning or studying. It is common for kinesthetic learners to focus on two different things at the same time, remembering things in relation to what they were doing. They possess good eye-hand coordination. In kinesthetic learning, learning occurs by the learner using their body to express a thought, an idea or a concept. In an elementary classroom setting, these students may stand out because of their need to move. Their high energy levels may cause them to be agitated, restless or impatient. Kinesthetic learners' short and long-term memories are strengthened by their use of movement. Classification: Rita Dunn contends that kinesthetic and tactile learning are the same style. Galit Ben-Zion asserts that kinesthetic and tactile learning are separate learning styles, with different characteristics. She defined kinesthetic learning as the process that results in new knowledge with the involvement of the learner's body movement. This movement is performed to establish new knowledge. Kinesthetic learning at its best, Ben-Zion found, is established when the learner uses language in order to define, explain, resolve and sort out how his or her body's movement reflects the concept explored. One example is a student using movement to find out the sum of 1/2 plus 3/4 via movement, then explaining how their motions in space reflect the mathematical process leading to the correct answer. Lack of evidence: although the concept of learning styles is popular among educators in some countries, there is no evidence that identifying a student's learning style produces better outcomes. On the contrary, there is substantial evidence that the meshing hypothesis is invalid. Well-designed studies flatly contradict the popular meshing hypothesis. Proponents state that the evidence related to kinesthetic learners benefiting from specialized instruction appears mixed at best. The diagnosis of kinesthetic and tactile learning is coupled, and teachers are likely to misdiagnose students' learning styles. On the other hand, studies do show that mixed modality presentations improve results in a variety of subjects. Instruction that stimulates more than auditory learning is more likely to enhance learning in a heterogeneous student population. References. External links: Overview of range of learning styles, Tips for teaching kinesthetic learners to read, Tips for kinesthetic learners, Misdiagnosis of kinesthetic learners with ADHD, Incidents and description of different learning styles and pedagogy in post-16 learning, a systematic and critical review, Learning and Skills Research Center.